So not sure if I had done a video on this yet, but got the body and everything off and got the bed off. Everything's out to the blaster. Time to remove the engine. She's all unbolted. Got this cool gantry crane, little chain fall that chain hoist that I'm gonna use to pull it out. I had to make this bracket to bolt up as a lifting bracket. So bolts to the head bolts there. I gave her a little test pull. She picked up the whole front of the frame, so I'm fairly confident that this will do what we need it to do, which is just get the engine off with the transmission and everything. And then that's going on a pallet, and then that's going to go to a customer. Well, actually, the customer sold it to someone who lives out in Washington State or Oregon or something like that. Anyways, way out on the West Coast. So this engine, transmission, drive shafts, front and rear axles are all going out there. Anything that we don't need, basically. We're going to put some Dana 60s underneath it, so we don't need the axles. Probably going to change these leaf spring mounts to like a double shear mount instead of that single shear. Put some better shocks on it. Things like that. But essentially, the job right now is to strip the frame down to nothing, and then get the axles underneath it. Well, actually, get it blasted, put it back together, get the axles underneath it, start fabbing up the leaf spring mounts and stuff. So yeah, that should be it for now. Let's see how this thing goes. I was hoping to slide this chassis out from underneath it and drop it on the ground. Gonna put it on a pallet so it can be shipped, but looks like I'm gonna have to use something to pull the chassis out of the way, which no big deal. We got some trucks and tractors and stuff around here. But yeah, she's out, and next time you see it, it'll be on a pallet, and then it'll be on its way to the West Coast. All right, there we go. She's on the pallet, looking good. Sits on there pretty nice. The oil pan was removed by the person who originally had the motor. It looked like they were going to do some bearings in it or something and stopped. So I'm not sure what was going on with that, but it sits on there pretty good without the oil pan. I'm going to probably block it up just a little bit in the front, just because it's a little rocky. I don't know that it's solid enough to be shipped, but probably put a few 2x4s across the pan rails in the front, and then strap it to the pallet, and I don't have any worries about that at all. I got the drive shaft on there, the rear drive shaft. I got the shifter linkage for the transfer case. It all fits on the pallet real nice, so worked out pretty good. This one is missing the supercharger. I don't know where it is. It didn't come with the motor or anything like that, but that's probably going to be a pretty tough piece to find. I'm not sure if it's like a 471 or 371 or whatever, but yeah, this is like the Surlist diesel, 3-cylinder. I don't know how many horsepower it was, probably 70. But she's a workhorse for the military, but we're going back with an LS in this thing, so we don't need it. Anyways, we'll continue the chassis disassembly and get that thing off to powder coat. Here's some pictures of taking the stuff down to the blaster over here. So you can see where I loaded it up on the trailer and hauled it down the road. Everything was real solid, real stable. Didn't sway around too much or anything like that. And got quite a few looks on the way down the road. You know, people wondering what the heck that thing was, some kind of bus or something. But all in all, dropped it off at the blaster. You see some photos there of all the stuff sitting at the media blaster, and they did a real nice job. They got all the loose parts done first and sent them back to us. They just sprayed them in a um, gray epoxy, and everything turned out just no real surprises there. Anything. There was a few dents and stuff we weren't aware of. There's some previous repairs that were done that were, okay, not great. So, and they'd been covered up with filler over time. So, gonna fix all though. There's a big old wallop in one of the doors that we knew about. Um, the mirror had gotten hit on something at some point. So, no big deal there. We're gonna fix all that sheet metal the best we can. The We want to save as much of the original sheet metal as we can because there's no replacements for any of that stuff. We're gonna have to fabricate a few panels on some other things and make some patch panels and put some curves and shapes into things. And we'll show you that process here upcoming. And At this point, we were just waiting for the body to come back. And a couple weeks later, we got it back, and I'll add that right here at the end of this little batch of pictures. Just got the Jeep truck, crew cab truck, back from the blaster. It's actually looking pretty good. There's some pinhole rust there, not too bad. A little bit of rust through in the corner there. Not really anything to worry about at all. The got some old school dent repair there going on. Had some rot around the bottom and the back here. No big deal. Up a little up around the windshield there. Other side's a little worse, but overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the way this turned out. This is an epoxy primer. They ran out of gray, so they did it in white. I think it looks pretty cool. Looks like something a stormtrooper would drive around, maybe. That's the worst spot there. That one was crushed and rusted through. We knew that going in. This rocker's got quite a bit of rust going on with it too. So, but honestly, pretty solid all the way around. I no real surprises. A few things that are. I mean, it's kind of all single wall metal, so like you pretty much know looking at it what it is. So, real happy with the way it turned out. So. Pretty clean. We'll get after the metal work after we get her in the shop here.